Hey there. So my name's Andy. I am the designer behind the Dungeoneer Journal and also for Pandian Games. Today I just wanted to go over kind of how to use the Dungeoneer Journal in order to create pretty much anything you want, whether that's a dungeon or a city, a giant spaceship colony, or even for world building. If you're looking to use this for solo games, there's actually a really great creator that covers it in fantastic detail on how she uses it for solo gaming and kind of deep dives into that. I will link that down in the comments of this video. So really, I'm just going to cover the original intent of this, which is kind of used as a creation guide to help you create something over the course of a year. These come in two sizes, so the large and the small. This one is condensed down to weekly spreads, which we'll get to in a second. But we're going to start off with the big guy here. This book almost weighs 2 pounds. It is quite thick. It's 206 pages, spiral bound. And the general idea behind this is that every day you can create something small, and over the course of the year, that will compound and create something very, very large, whether that is a dungeon or a world or anything else that you want. And what you can see here is that there are different sections. So we have our day entries, which is where you will put each day's information, whether that is writing a description for a room or drawing an NPC portrait or anything that you would like. And then we have dot grid paper and day trackers, tables for generation. But really, the big key here is right down here. Today, let's make. And so, if you're ever stuck, this is a great place to start. And you can just roll a d6, and maybe you're going to create an encounter, or you'll create a building, room, or area, an NPC, an adventure hook, right? And that can just be a one sentence little hook to be like, what's happening in this room, or what's happening in this area, or just help with the narrative and the story building behind. It can just be a little quick idea that you jot down, a puzzle, or a detailed drawing. And here is the days, and it doesn't matter which day you start on. You could just check it. So down here, we're towards the end of the year. We can just say, hey, we're in, the third day of December. We can cross that off, and maybe that's where we start. And the idea is when you fill all of these up with check boxes, you're done, right? You have completed the dungeon year. And then you can look back. This journal should be completely full at that point. And if you miss a day, you miss a day. It's not a big deal. You could cross off all of these months up here and just use this as a tracker in general. It could take you 2 years to finish this as you go through and you cross off all of these boxes. And that's totally fine. Now, we include a bunch of tables, and these are just to help you out. Everything from planetary locations, rooms, an idea generator to help spark creativity and ideas, fantasy objects, cyberpunk objects, populations within a town, a whole town generator. This is a 10d10 or 10d20 town generator. You roll all 10 d20s at once, and then you just pick out all the columns, and you've generated a town. A funky table to add a little bit of weirdness to your ideas. So you can roll on like the flora and fauna table, which gives you a adjective and a type, so like a hardy tree or a succulent or grass, right? And then you can add a little bit of funk into it. Maybe it's an acidic, hardy mistletoe, right? And that kind of adds a little extra to it. The idea of themes is that maybe for the next 7 entries, you're going to theme them in some way. Maybe it's a level of a dungeon, and every week is a different level that you're trying to put together, and you can create themes for that level. Again, there's no wrong way to use this book. If you don't want to use the tables at all, you don't have to. Rip them out. You can just pull these pages right out of the binding if you want to. And then we get into, here's a bunch of dot grids. Here you can do big sketches, so you can kind of keep track of like as you add rooms, or if you add new planets to your solar system, if you're doing a solar system build, or you can map out the different layers of your spaceship, or maps of your town, like all sorts of really cool stuff in here. And then finally, we get to the actual entries. So from here on, Every page in this book looks exactly like this. We could go anywhere in this book and it's going to look the same. So let's go over what each day entry is. So from here to here is your 1 day entry. We can give it an ID, we can give it a date, and then we can give it a connection. Now, how this works is you can give this ID anything you want. It could be NPC 001, right? If you are wanting to create an NPC, or you could just call it 001, or you call it the page number, plus whatever. Or it could be part of the date, right? Whatever your ID is, that's up to you, however you want to do it. And the idea is that you can then reference this specific entry later on. And you would do that with connections. And how the connections work is you would say, for instance, say this is a room that I'm creating. And I could say, this room is RM001, and then down here, maybe I'll create an NPC, and I'm going to call it NPC001. And I detail an NPC, and I give them a sketch, and maybe I give them stats and everything. And on connections, I say RM001. And what's that saying, at least to me, again, you can do this however you'd like, is that this NPC is in that room, right? And that's how we can do connections. Or we could say, draw a little map here of our room, and we could say, down here is a door, and that door leads to this other room ID, right? And so maybe this leads to room 002, and the door up here leads to room 003, so on and so forth. So connections and IDs are just a way for you to link each day together if you want to. Again, there's no wrong way to do this. So if you want to ignore ID and you want to ignore connections and you don't even want to put dates on things, you don't have to. Otherwise, we have a big notes section here, so you can jot down your your adventure hook or different things like that. We have grid paper here, so if you want to lay out a map for a room in a dungeon, or maybe how something connects together with something else, right? This could be used for a flow diagram. Really, however you want to do that. And you can also use the notes over here in order to do any of your sketches. So if your day's piece is to create a detailed drawing of something, create your drawing over here on the blank sheet of paper, and then maybe you have some notes that you want to jot down about what you drew. You can do that here. However you want to use this. And the idea is, as you go through, you would start here on this exact page. You'd start here, and you'd fill this one out, and it could just be 1 room, 3 gold, 2 kobolds. Done, right? You don't need anything more than that. If you want to flesh it out more, you can. If you want to come back to it and flesh it out more, you can. But especially on the days that you're struggling for some kind of creativity or not sure what you're supposed to do that day, you can keep it super, super simple. And you just go through each one. And then however you want to do these, it really doesn't matter. There's no wrong way. It's what works for you. So this is the day journal. You can see this. This is the large one, so I call this the full size of the large journal. And you can see you have tons and tons of room for each day in order to fill out what you want to do. Now, the small journal here, which is about half the cost, is actually favored by people who are doing solo games, I've found. So this condenses down into week entries. So each of these little boxes is a day. And so what you could do is you can use this sheet of paper over here to draw out all sorts of different things as you're filling out these entries. And sometimes these entries are easier, right? You have much less space, and so you don't feel the need to potentially write as much. And then here you can number in these boxes. And so if you have 7 rooms drawn out here, we're going to use the dungeon for example. You have 7 rooms drawn out here, and this is your entry in order to create that dungeon. You can say, here's room 1, here's room 2, here's room 3 on your map, and then label it here as well, so you know what aligns to what. And then again, we can set IDs and connections. And even further than that, if you really want to, you could say, here's ID, this is like room group 1, RMGP01, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'll go in all the way down. And so if you want to reference a specific room within this group, it could be RMGP0101. That's your first room of group 1. Again, you don't have to do it that way, But that's the idea behind these IDs and these connections. And again, this book also contains your dot grid paper, and it also contains all of the same instructions and also the tables. So in that aspect, they're completely identical between the large one and the small one. The only difference is these day entries have been condensed down, so it's not on so many pages. So this one's only 100 and I believe it's 120, 124 pages, and it's a smaller size, so it's easy to hold around. But if you really want to like dig in and have it sit on your desk, and maybe you want to pull out your colored markers and really go to town, then the bigger one's going to be better for you. But if you want something that you can throw in your backpack super easy and it doesn't take up much space, you can pull it out at coffee shops and everything and just like jot things down real quick, then definitely the smaller one. So that's how you use them. And if you have any questions, please leave them in comments down below, and we will do our best to answer them for you. But again, however you want to use these is the correct way. And yeah, let us know if you have any feedback, any changes. We're planning in 2025 to potentially revise these, collect feedback from everybody, and see if there's any changes or updates that we can make to these for the next year. So definitely let us know. And otherwise, thanks for watching and hope you have a good one.